The world is shifting at a dizzying pace, and tensions among nations are becoming increasingly evident. Headlines buzz with news of conflicts and speculations of larger confrontations. The threat of a global conflict feels more tangible now than it has in decades. Across continents, a rising wave of fear grips people. Fear that humanity might be teetering on the brink of World War III. Unease hangs in the air, and the prospect of nuclear warfare no longer feels like a distant scenario. It's creeping closer, becoming more palpable and unsettling by the day. Recent reports shed light on a concerning reality. Governments are sounding alarms, global powers are stockpiling destructive weapons, and leaders are making decisions with the potential to reshape history. The fragility of global peace has never been clearer. People everywhere are anxious, bracing for the possibility of a conflict involving catastrophic weapons. Many ask, what if the worst happens? Can the world endure a nuclear war? Should believers be concerned? Among these global tensions, the war between Ukraine and Russia continues to dominate headlines. Stretching beyond its 1,000th day, it has become a focal point for global unease. Recently, U.S. President Joe Biden authorized Ukraine to deploy long-range Army tactical missile systems for strikes deep into Russian territory, a decision marking a significant escalation. Just yesterday, Ukraine used the ATACMS system for the first time to target Russian soil after President Biden's months-long deliberation. His hesitation stemmed from fears of further escalation and doubts about the strategic impact. At the same time, unconfirmed reports suggest that Ukraine has launched United Kingdom-supplied Storm Shadow missiles into Russia. If true, the implications are staggering. Each new development intensifies the conflict, drawing more nations into the fray and escalating global stakes exponentially. Today, a Ukrainian official reported being 95% certain that Russia had launched an intercontinental ballistic missile. This development has drawn global attention and is viewed as a significant escalation, given that such missiles can carry nuclear warheads. Ukrainian officials stated that Russia fired the missile toward southeastern Ukraine. However, a U.S. official told ABC News that it was an experimental medium-range ballistic missile launched near Dnipro. The United States had reportedly briefed Ukraine and allied nations about Russia's potential use of this weapon to help them prepare. According to the official, Russia likely has only a few of these experimental missiles. U.S. officials clarified to ABC News that it was not an ICBM but rather an intermediate-range ballistic missile. Despite this, Ukraine's military remained 95% certain it was an ICBM, although they continued to examine missile fragments to confirm. Adding to the tension, on November 19th, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced an update to Russia's nuclear doctrine. Under this new policy, Russia would consider aggression from any non-nuclear state, if backed by a nuclear power, as a direct attack on Russia itself. This declaration came just days after the U.S. allowed Ukraine to use American-made long-range missiles, which many see as a clear warning to the West. The threat of nuclear retaliation has shifted from a theoretical concern to a real possibility. Russia possesses over 5,500 nuclear warheads, more than any other nation, while the United States holds 5,044. Together, their combined arsenals could destroy the world many times over. The sheer destructive potential of these weapons underscores the gravity of the current situation, leaving the world on edge. The world's nuclear arsenals are spread across the globe, with American warheads stationed in countries like Turkey, Italy, Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has frequently sounded the alarm about the unparalleled danger of nuclear weapons. Speaking candidly, he has called them humanity's greatest threat, capable of ending civilization as we know it. Trump has stressed the tremendous advancements in nuclear technology since the end of World War II. The bigger problem is the weaponry, he has said. The weaponry today is so powerful. This isn't like the Second World War with tanks shooting at each other. These are weapons the world has never seen before. They have them, and we have them. To grasp the scale of this danger, consider the Tsar Bomba, detonated by the Soviet Union in 1961. With a yield of 50 megatons, it was 3,300 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Its explosion produced a shockwave that circled the globe 3 times. The destruction caused by such a weapon is almost beyond comprehension. Now imagine this: the nuclear arsenals of the United States and Russia contain thousands of such weapons, many even more advanced. The mere thought of their use is enough to fill anyone with dread. In moments like these, fear feels like a natural response. But as Christians, we are called to a different perspective. The Bible offers clarity and hope even in the face of chaos and uncertainty. Again and again, Scripture reminds us not to be afraid. In Matthew 24-6, Jesus says, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." These words carry a powerful message of reassurance for uncertain times. Jesus foresaw the fears that would grip humanity during times of war and rumors of war. Yet, he commands his followers not to be troubled. Why? Because everything is unfolding according to God's divine plan. Nothing catches God by surprise. While we may not know the future, God does. While we are not in control, God is. What are you afraid of? Do not let the sensationalism of the media fill you with dread. The words of Jesus remain clear and reassuring, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled." From a biblical perspective, a full-scale nuclear war that annihilates humanity does not align with the prophetic events described in Scripture. Even a smaller nuclear exchange involving 100 to 200 warheads would lead to catastrophic consequences: nuclear winter, ecological collapse, global famine, and societal breakdown. Yet, the Bible does not describe the end of the world as an uncontrolled annihilation. Instead, it speaks of a measured and purposeful period of judgment known as the Great Tribulation. This period, as described in Matthew 24:21-22 and throughout the book of Revelation, will bring unparalleled suffering. However, even then, God sets boundaries on the scale of destruction. Jesus said in Matthew 24:21-22, "For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened." These words reveal a profound truth. Even during the end times, God will intervene to preserve humanity. In Revelation 6-8, we read, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him. And power was given to them over a fourth of the earth, to kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth." And in Revelation 9:15. So the 4 angels, who had been prepared for the hour and day and month and year, were released to kill a third of mankind. The overarching message is clear. While calamities will escalate in the end times, God maintains control over the scale and timing of these events. He will ensure that his plans for redemption and judgment unfold exactly as intended, preserving humanity even through great trials. God is in control, even in the midst of chaos. If God were not sovereign over history, humanity would have destroyed itself long ago. The existence of nuclear weapons is a sobering reminder of humanity's capacity for destruction. Yet, even the most powerful weapons and the most ambitious plans of wicked leaders are constrained by God's will. Throughout history, God has demonstrated his sovereignty over nations and rulers. Proverbs 21:1 reminds us, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He directs it like a watercourse wherever he pleases." Even Satan, described as the god of this world, operates under divine constraints. In the story of Job, Satan could act only within the boundaries set by God. This same principle applies to world events today. Though the world often feels chaotic, God's purposes remain unshaken. The Great Tribulation, described in Revelation 6-19, is still to come. This period will be marked by unprecedented judgments, but it will not result in the total destruction of humanity. Instead, it will be a time when God's justice, mercy, and sovereignty are displayed on a global scale. Christians can find comfort in knowing that the end of history is not determined by human leaders or nuclear weapons. It is firmly in the hands of God, regardless of what leaders decide, what policies they enact, or what alliances they form. Their authority is temporary and ultimately subordinate to God's will. The news may attempt to instill fear, amplifying every crisis and creating an atmosphere of uncertainty. Yet, as believers, we are called to fix our eyes not on the chaos of the world but on the eternal promises of God. Do not be troubled. The one who created the heavens and the earth holds your future securely in his hands. The Great Tribulation, as described in Revelation, will indeed be a time of immense challenges. However, it is important to remember that it is part of God's redemptive plan for humanity, a plan of ultimate restoration and hope. The Great Tribulation is not a time of aimless destruction or chaos. Instead, it is a season in which God's justice, mercy, and sovereignty will be displayed for all to see. Even amid the trials of that period, God's hand will remain firmly on the wheel of history. Every event will serve his ultimate purpose of redemption and restoration. This truth should bring profound comfort. The end of history does not rest in the hands of world leaders, governments, or even the most destructive weapons humanity can create. It is securely and irrevocably in the hands of God.